Extra time for candidate assessments. Now, we are of the opinion this is a really important issue, and ensuring that candidates are given extra time when they need it is important. But many publishers have decided against that perspective and don't give extra time at all. Now, it's important to understand the logic behind extra time. Now, this is particularly important in the case of neurodivergence. For example, dyslexia. One thing we know about dyslexia is that it reduces information processing speed. Okay? This is the case with many types of neurodivergence. Now, we also know that when it comes to general cognitive ability, the differences aren't massive. In fact, there'll be no differences at all in overall cognitive ability between different neurotypes, different forms of neurodivergence. It's just the processing speed is often the contentious issue. And so to correct for this, people give extra time, just to allow for a slower rate of processing. Makes perfect sense. Sounds uncontroversial. Now, the other piece to consider is relevance to the role. So I'm of the opinion that time limits on assessments in general aren't really key to psychometric properties. They're actually just practical considerations. They keep the pace, ensure that everyone has this roughly similar testing experience. It prevents cheating because it limits the time that people can go off and try and figure out the questions in scrupulous ways. You don't need time limits in an ideal world. Most assessments do not take into account the time that you take. It doesn't reward people for being quick, for example. They're practical considerations, which makes sense. But that's a relatively weak argument for discriminating on the basis of neurodivergence. That, oh, we just didn't want people to cheat, therefore we're going to put you at a disadvantage. And one obvious way to remedy that is to give extra time. If processing speed is an issue, have extra time. 25% is the sort of standard amount that people typically give, but there can be more, In our assessments, we allow up to 100% extra time, which is enormous, which has never been asked for, but is available. And we are of the opinion that because processing speed in role wouldn't be an issue. Your boss would say, okay, we need this report in the next 3 weeks. It's not going to be, I need this report in the next 5 minutes, go. And so it's a relatively contrived element of assessment. And so manipulating it as to make it more fair on the basis of neurodivergence, in my opinion, makes perfect sense. And organizations should absolutely ask for extra time if it's needed.